Hello and welcome to episode 7 of my knitting podcast. My name is Annika and I'm coming to you from Germany. I am a natural yarn dyer as well as an avid knitter, and I basically love everything that is related to the fiber arts. In this episode I have several finished objects to share with you, as well as some works in progress and also some spinning. Let's get started. First off, let's start with what I'm wearing today. Now you can't see it here, but this is a dress and it is not knitted, but it is handmade nonetheless. What I did to create this dress is that I took a tank top that I bought secondhand, so this roughly navy blue tank top, and I cut off the bottom hem and then I attached it to a skirt that I sewed myself. So I basically took one large strip of fabric and I sewed the side seam, and then I attached the top and the skirt portion and also inserted an elastic for the waist so that it cinches in quite significantly at the waist, and then I had a dress. So it was very easy, but I think it looks really nice and I really love to wear it. So if you are not only a knitter but also a sewist, this might be an option for you as well. But let's get started with the knitting content now, shall we? I would like to start with my finished object, or one of my finished objects first. Let me put it on. Okay, so here they are. Still a little bit damp because they just came off the blocking mats. These are my new mittens, and they are from a knitting pattern by Petit Knit called the Vienna Set. So let me pull them off now because it looks a bit strange with the warm mittens together with the dress, and they are quite warm indeed. Let me show you. So the pattern comes in a set, like the name Vienna Set suggests. So the pattern consists of both the mitten pattern and a very simple stockinette scarf, but I only bought it for the mittens, to be honest. I don't intend to make the scarf as well. So the pattern features this rolled hem at the bottom, which I quite like, and originally the cuff here is made even longer, but because I wanted these mittens to be rather practical for me to wear in the winter so that I could slide them under my coat, after I've put it on, I made it like just a little bit shorter. And then you just knit up and do some decreases here for the finishing. And what you do in the end is that you do a simple Kitchener stitch, so like the same that you would do to close off a toe if you knit a sock, you do for this portion here. However, one thing I wanted to mention here, I used an unspun yarn, or rather 2 strands of unspun yarn to make these mittens. I used Plötulopi by Istex in the color cream and light gray, I think. This was left over from another project, and I held 1 strand of the cream together with 1 strand of the light gray, and this created this beautiful marled look. But what I wanted to talk about was the Kitchener stitch in the end, because I found it very, very difficult to get a neatly looking edge here, because of course if you pull too tightly on unspun yarn it comes apart like nothing. So I did it once and it looked messy and I ripped back, which is a bit of a nightmare with unspun yarn, to be quite honest, at least in my opinion. And then I took a sewing thread, a thicker sewing thread, I think it is for mending, so a rather thick cotton mending thread, and I held it together with 1 strand of the light gray, and then I did the Kitchener stitch. I'm not sure, I hope you will be able to tell. It looks alright now in my opinion, a lot better than it did before, and I'm quite happy with it. So these are my Vienna mittens, and I'm still thinking about maybe felting them just a little bit so that they get even warmer, because the fabric gets denser. And I also hope that they might get a little bit less scratchy. I was thinking about whether to call them scratchy or rustic. I don't think they are terribly scratchy, but I'm used to rustic yarns, and I really like rustic yarns, but they are really rustic. So maybe if I felt them just a little bit, I practiced on a tiny swatch and it was completely fine, I could get them to be a little bit softer so that they would be more comfortable to wear. But overall, I'm very happy with this project. Let me check which needle size I used. I knitted them on a 3mm needle, which is a US 2.5. And those are the Vienna mittens. Next up is another finished object, and it is a pair of socks. So this pattern is one of my own knitting patterns, and it is called the Camaret Socks. So the stitch pattern is a broken rib pattern. Then we have a classic heel flap and gusset construction with a garter heel and a symmetric toe. I made the leg a little bit shorter than what I originally wrote in the pattern, because I wanted those socks to be very cozy socks to be worn around the house. I made a very similar pair, where is it? Here. Back at the beginning of this year for myself, using one strand of my own sock yarn base, the Luster Sock DK base, together with a strand of white silk mohair, and I love wearing these socks. They are so cozy and warm, and especially in the winter I loved to put them on first thing in the morning when I got out of bed, and they were just the coziest thing. So I made another pair, oops, this time using a different yarn combination. So this is one strand of unspun yarn, of Newton yarn from Honor Air to be precise, together with again a strand of silk mohair. And let me show you the yarns that I used. So for the Newton yarn, I used 2 yarns from the May collection of this year, which I both got when I ordered a surprise package by Newton, where you simply order 200 grams of yarn and you don't know what colorway you get basically. And I got very lucky, and I got, I think, pretty much all of the colorways from the May collection, and those 2 were in it. And the silk mohair I used is this one. I hope the camera is doing it justice now, because it is a very pretty colorway. I actually used a white, so undyed silk mohair from Drops that I had in my stash for the longest time, and I over dyed it myself with natural dyes. First I did cochineal, I think, and then added it to another logwood dye bath, and the effect is very stunning in my opinion, because the silk and the mohair took the dyes in a different way. So the silk thread that's running throughout looks a bit lighter, and the mohair is really dark purple, and I think it looks very lovely, and I love how this sock came out. To me, this looks like a very moody sunset, especially in this part here. And can you imagine that those 2 balls of yarn create such an interesting color combination like this one? Let me show you one more time, because I think there are so many different colors that you can see in this sock that is just amazing. I love it. I knitted these socks again with 3mm needles, so a US 2.5, and they really knit up in no time. I think it was also because I liked the color combinations so much and I wanted to see how the socks looked. So I think both of these socks took me under 1 week to make. So a very, very nice project that I'm very happy with. And I'm sure this is not my last pair of unspun socks along with a strand of silk mohair, because I think it's a very beautiful combination. What I learned though, because I knitted the first sock a little bit too short and had to rip back the toe portion, is that the combination of silk mohair and unspun yarn is a nightmare to unravel. So if possible, make sure that you do not have to unravel this yarn combination, because it is not very pleasant at all. But besides this, it was a very enjoyable project. By the way, if you hear any strange noises throughout the video, I'm not all by myself right now. We have a new addition to our family and a very, very big dream came true for me. Let me show you. So this is Bonnie. She is our 3-month-old puppy. If you know what breed she is, leave a comment and let me know what you think. Let's move on to another work in progress, and it is another pair of socks. You have seen them before, and it is the Kura Socks by Miss Evil Knits. I'm knitting them again in knitted in yarn, so another unspun yarn project. And this is also from the surprise package, the colorways from the May collection. I am doing the grass stitch motif. So in the video tutorials by Miss Evil Knits, she gives you several options, both for the heel as well as for the stitch pattern. And I'm doing the grass stitch, which looks very, very pretty in my opinion. And I had already finished one sock and then knitted this sock, so the second sock, but the first sock looked so wonky because I didn't pull tightly enough, I think, because I was afraid that the yarn would break, so that then I unraveled the first sock, and now I have this ball of the unraveled first sock, but I started re-knitting it, and this is how far I have gotten. So you knit them toe up, I did the toe, and now I'm working on the leg, no, not the leg, the feet, the foot. Sorry, I'm not a native speaker and I make a ton of mistakes all the time. Sometimes I notice right away, and sometimes I only notice when I edit the videos, and then I'm very annoyed with myself, but oh well. You have to bear with me. I know that not all of you are native speakers either, so I'm sure that you, or I hope that you understand. So I'm currently working on the foot part, so on the grass stitch motif, until I have to increase for the gusset. And it's a very nice, enjoyable project. It goes by very quickly because I'm again using 3mm needles, which are a US 2.5. But I have to say, since this is my third time knitting the socks, I am happy to be finished with them, hopefully quite soon, so that I can move on to something else. And I'm also looking forward to wearing them, but I'm afraid that since it has gotten quite warm here, those are going to go in my drawer and they will have to wait until the fall for me to wear them, because I don't think I want cozy, thick, unspun yarn socks on my feet at the moment. Next up is another project that you have seen before, but it has grown quite a bit, and it is my Maeron sweater, a wonderful pattern by Natasha Hornby from Moonstruck Knits. So I have now completed 1/2 of the sweater. So the sweater is knitted sideways. You start at the shoulder and then work all the way to the middle. And I've now also, let me see how I can show you. I've now also completed the sleeve. And there's one modification that I made. Originally, the sleeve cuff, the seat stitch cuff, is intended to be worked in the same yarn, so the main color of the sweater, but I wanted to do a contrast cuff. And I'm going to do the same for the bottom hem. Originally, this is a seat stitch band in the main color, but I'm going to do the this grayish blue. By the way, the yarn I'm using is Wool Dreamers Saona, which is a blend of cotton and wool. And I'm using the colorways Ozetta is the neutral one and 1985 is the grayish blue one. I really, really love this sweater project. I love how it comes out. Let me see if I can show you the beautiful motifs here on the main part of the body. This is all done by slip stitches, so no color work knitting involved. And these flower motifs are done by a wrapping technique, which is also very interesting. Unfortunately, I ran out of the main colors, so I had to order 4 more balls of it, and I'm currently waiting for them. I think they're going to arrive within the next couple of weeks, and then I can continue with this project, and then I'm going to knit the other half and later on join them in the middle, and then all there's left to do is do the neckband and the bottom hem. And I'm looking very much forward to finishing this piece because I think it will be a very, very nice addition to my wardrobe. The needle size I'm using is mainly a 3.5mm needle, which is a US 4. And did I mention this? I think I didn't. I am holding the yarn double because it is such a fine fingering weight yarn that I decided to hold it double in order to be closer to the recommended gauge. Sorry if the background looks a bit different. I had to take a little puppy break, but now I'm back. So another new cast on that you haven't seen before is this one. This is going to be the Baby Bear Bonnet, which is a knitting pattern by Pernille Larsen from Knitting for Olive. So as you can see, I've not gotten very far on it. I only cast it on and did the seed stitch band, and now I am working in plain stockinette before I am going to increase to shape these cute little bear ears. The yarn I am using is also Knitting for Olive. I have this combination here. So this one is the Knitting for Olive Merino in the colorway Raccoon. And I'm holding it together with 1 strand of the compatible cashmere. And this is the colorway Slate Gray. And I think the colorway and the fabric these 2 yarns create together look very nice. Now the pattern is written originally to hold the merino yarn together with a strand of silk mohair, but to be honest, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to make something with a silk mohair yarn that would sit up so close to a baby's face. And this is why I opted for the compatible cashmere, because Knitting for Olive actually has great options for you to swap out different yarns in their range, and since they have similar yardages, so the compatible cashmere and the silk mohair in this case, this is not a problem at all. The needle size I use for this project is larger than the one that is recommended in the pattern. So the pattern recommends a 3.5mm needle, which is a US 4, but I am using a 4mm needle. Not sure what this is in US size, but I'm going to put it up on the screen somewhere. Alright, let's move on to spinning now. As you might know, if you have watched one of the previous episodes, I am a somewhat new spinner and I have more yarn to share with you. So I'm very, very happy with this one, and also very proud of myself that I managed to create this beautiful yarn. Can you see how bouncy this is? I think it might also be due to the fact that it is a little bit under twisted, but I really, really like how it came out. So this is a yarn that I spun from a combed top from John Arbon from their Apple Door line. So this line is very awesome because They sourced the fiber very local to the mill, so I think within a 20-kilometer radius. So a really local fiber, and the different colorways all have names that refer to different apple varieties. So the one that I have here is called Pig Snout, and I'm going to put up a picture for you of how the combed top looked originally so that you can see. And what I did is that I split the fiber in half lengthwise, and I spun the one half just as it came, and then I took the second half and I tried to separate the different colorways at least a bit. It wasn't completely possible, but I tried to take the blue strands and put it on one pile, and then the pink ones and the yellow ones, and then I spun them separately, not separately, but I first spun the blue, then the pink, and then the yellow, and then I applied it together as a 2-ply with the first half, and this is how it came out. It is a bit thicker than what I would have hoped for, but spinning very thin is rather difficult for me still, so this is the best that I could do. But like I said, I'm very happy with it. I actually purchased this fiber since John Arbon is located in the UK, and it is a bit difficult for us here in Germany to get things from the UK since they are not part of the EU anymore. You have to pay taxes. So I didn't order it from them directly, although you have this option. But I got this from the Making Story online store. They had a shop update a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was actually their first time that they offered some spinning fiber, and I took advantage of this and I ordered this one as well as another John Arbon Appledore fiber, and this is Quench, I think. So this is this beautiful rainbow of color, and I started spinning it up, and here it is. Tried to get it a bit thinner than the Pig Snout, but yeah, I'm not sure if I managed. We'll see when I apply it together, because this is also going to be a 2-ply. And what I did here, so this is the one half of the braid or the combed top, and this is the other half. And I also started to separate the strands. So this time it was all of the yellow, all of the blue, and all of the pink, along with the white, which runs all throughout. And then I spun each colorway more or less on its own. And yeah, I'll do the same with this half and then ply them together again as a 2-ply. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It was really a dream to spin, very nice and easy to spin, and I enjoyed it quite a lot. So I'm sure this will have not been my last time that I get some combed tops from John Arbon. So that's it for what I've been making for this week. I am planning to do some natural dyeing. I actually ordered a couple of skeins of Knitting for Olive's pure silk yarn in the cream colorway, which is their undyed yarn. And I'm planning to naturally dye it myself using avocados, pits and skins. So over the last couple of weeks, I've been collecting avocado pits and skins, cleaned them very well after we consumed the avocado, and then I actually froze them to keep the dye potential intact as much as possible. And now I think I have enough, and I'm going to dye those 4 skeins, and afterwards I plan to knit a Cumulus tee by Petite Knit with it. I am for sure going to show you or take you along so that you can see how this will come out. And if you would like to know how to dye a skein of yarn yourself using natural dyes, I have written a free guide that you can download. I'll put the link for you in the description box. And like I said, it is completely free, and I walk you through each of the steps of the natural dyeing process. That's it for now. I hope you have an awesome week with lots of making time. Until next time, bye guys!